we'll be looking at ritual killings in Nigeria. Ritual killing, we have some guests that will be talking to us on why do we have this increase in ritual killings in Nigeria? Why are people killing persons? Why is this increase? It's no longer arithmetic progression, it's now geometric progression. And every day you hear one person, somebody's been killed, the other person's been killed. Where are we getting to? When other countries are thinking of how to maximize science and technology to meet up with modern challenges, in Nigeria is a different ball game. Nigerians, they are getting more used to killings, and the idea of killings to get money, influence, power, or anything, we don't know where this idea came from. And this is what we'll be looking at. And it involves everybody, both the young. Recently we saw some 17, 16 years old boy into ritual killing, killing their girlfriend to get money. Last week, Saturday, a couple was involved with different human parts. They said they got it from herbalists and they want to use it for people. The decimal is reoccurring every day. It's everyday thing. And we don't know what this will portend for the country if we don't nip this ugly trend at the board, where father killing doctor, daughter killing husband. It's terrible. This is what we'll be looking at on the issues and answers. And we have seasoned guests who will be talking to us how we got to this level and what can be done to stop it. To keep the conversation going this morning, to kick up the conversation. There's a story on ritual killing. If the MCRO guy, Audio, can you help me out on that story on ritual killing by some young persons in Nigeria?
Over time, the social media and other news space have been inundated with stories of ritual killings carried out by youths, popularly referred to as Yahoo Plus. The trend, which has taken a frightening dimension, saw the recent arrest of 3 teenage boys who were caught by a local vigilante roasting the head of one of their girlfriends beheaded by them. The respondents, who blamed relevant bodies for the trend, noted that inability of various stakeholders to fulfill their promises to the people and high rate of suffering and desperation to survive at all costs are some key factors responsible for the trend. While emphasizing that the society may have more grievous acts to contend with if nothing is done to arrest the situation, the respondent appealed to parents to be alive to their responsibilities of inculcating sound morals and values in their children.
So until the government have to take the test upon themselves to make sure they exist prices of things, and to make sure things are where the way it ought to be. Poverty, both the women and their husband have children, they don't have money to train their children. And I think they always do it every day. You see, the government is supposed to be eating poor people problem. But by this time, if you are not a politician, you are not Yahoo, you are not any business, proper business, you cannot eat better food. Sometimes there is some poverty, you will let person do what most people do.
Killing of these innocent girls especially is something, it's a problem to we mothers. So I use this medium to beg our mothers. We should call our children to order, advise our children.
On his part, Archbishop Fred Agedo of Gospel Defenders Ministry said the evil is an offshoot of a dysfunctional society brought about by parents who, in one way or the other, laid the foundation of the trend through their conduct.
Me, I am praying that Jesus should come soon. If Jesus does not come in less than 1 year, and we are still like this, then heaven have to repent of destroying Sodom and Gomorrah. Because what is happening now, it didn't happen in Sodom and Gomorrah. It has gone beyond what happened in Sodom and Gomorrah. I am praying that Jesus come soonest.
It is hoped that parents and other stakeholders we rise up to the challenge and nip the ugly trend in the bud by evolving measures that would engage young ones as well as discourage them from engaging in despicable acts. Joy Musa Agedu, EBS News. Over time, the social
National Youth Council of Nigeria, Edo State, Comrade Osahon Obasuyi. You're welcome, Chairman.
Thank you so much, Auntie Josephine. Good morning. Good morning, viewers.
Okay. And we have a pastor with us, Pastor Wisdom Header. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you, Josephine. Thank you for having me, and viewers, I appreciate you.
All right, let me go straight to Pastor Wisdom Header. Is ritual killing a myth or a fact? These people believing that you can one get money through or influence through killing of persons?
All right, I think it's necessary for people to understand. Definitely, there is every currency in Nigeria is numbered and is coming from Central Bank of Nigeria. So most of what we see in movies have to do with maybe is a particular room or sanctum whereby a person that is killed will start vomiting money or currency, and such actually does not exist. But there is a part of ritual killing that actually influences the ritualist into attracting fortune to himself. You understand? So what they do is they use occultic means and making sacrifices in order to avert the evil side of life and attract better fortunes and command other influences into their favor. So those influences that will be commanded to their favor will in turn culminate into having excess money and all the rest of them. So that is the climax of it. There's another part of it whereby they sell human parts. They have the special price tag for heads. They have special price tag for the private parts and all the rest of them. So those ones, they just present the particular human parts, and then there are people who are off-takers who can come around and take off those parts and pay instantly so they can have access to funds. Those people who pay now engage in other excessive sacrificial activities, occultic activities that will help them to go through, help a lot of the activities to go through many of things they do. Maybe they are into drugs, or they are into so many kind of competition or context in high places, and that can still avert a lot of negative influences, because you are sacrificing to the devil, definitely. So it's the devil now that will make you to always have access to so many other things that ordinarily you would not have had access to. But there are implications to that, you understand? There are implications to all this. There are life implications, there are consequences, there are challenges, there are constraints. So ritual killing does not just go like that. It comes with a lot of challenges. Yes.
What you're telling us right now is that so people can really kill to get money.
Yes.
Is it a real thing that if you kill you get money, or it's just a myth that like people are deceiving people that just go and kill?
Yeah, there are so many things that happens in the realm of occultism.
Okay.
You understand? So occultism, yes, people can kill to attract fortune, can attract fame, to influence other people to follow their bid. Yeah, so many of them who are into some kind of transaction, they can easily tell a client something, and then the client will begin to do exactly what. So those things involves a lot of sacrifices, but the sacrifices always improves from the beginning level, which might be somebody that is closer to them, to a higher level, which might be somebody that is more important to them, in order to sustain the forces that backs up they sacrifice. I think this program will help a lot of people to be liberated, because I know a lot of people are having serious challenge right now. So many people have done some rituals and they don't know the way out. So I think we'll help them to be liberated.
All right, Chairman, you are the #1 youth in Edo State, and we find out that most young people are now into ritual killing. What do you think? How did we get to this level that young persons are involved? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, thank you so much, Auntie Josephine. To speak on this, it is very clear and it is conspicuous that Nigeria, as of today, is a failed state. Nigeria is a failed state because, like I have always told people and what we know, the primary responsibility of government is to take care of its citizens, the welfare of its citizens. And if a particular government fails, to handle the responsibility it's supposed to handle, then the government has failed. So I say Nigeria is a failed state because Nigeria have not been able to manage its assets. Young persons that we are talking about are supposed to be access to the nation. And today, Nigeria as a country is unable to manage these assets, so they have failed in that regard. Well, again, like I have always said in different fora, charity, they say, begin at home. And parents are also, to a very large extent, responsible for what is happening today. When you talk about ritual killings, we expect that parents should be able to bring up their children, in the way they should grow. And when they grow, they will not depart from it. That's what the Bible tells us, that bring up a child the way that child should grow. And when he grows, he will not depart, from it. And the Bible equally says that you should spare the rod, and spoil the child. But parents, they don't care. They run after money, and at the end of the day, when it's boomerang back at them. And you even discover that there are some parents that, their children bring all manner of things to the house. They will not even question the source of, the money they use in purchasing such items. A child who has lived with you all his life in the house, one day comes with 10 million naira Mercedes-Benz to the house, and you are happy. You are, calling friends and relations, to join you, thank God, that your child is making a lot of money. So these things, when we were growing up, if you come home, even when we were in school, you come home with somebody else's pen, your parents will ask you, how did you get this? Are you supposed to come home with somebody else's pen? They will even give it to you to return it, to the person the next day in school, after you have been dealt with, very seriously. But today, it is not that way. Parents are happy, to just see that their children, is making it, irrespective of whatever way it's coming from. And again, if we also want to look at it from the religious angle, I have equally said it, times without number, that our religious leaders have equally failed us. Because nowadays, all we hear from the pulpit is prosperity. We no longer hear, pastors, especially these new generation churches, preaching salvation. We no longer hear them teaching morals. All they do is, before the end of this month, I see somebody buying a car. Before the end of this month, I see somebody moving into a new house. You don't care to find out what these persons do, that you are saying they will move into a new house. You don't care, and you don't even, all you know is, somebody is going to buy a new car, somebody is going to move into a new house and all this. These persons are not working. And, when they now try to, be those persons that you are talking to, they can do anything just to achieve, what you have said, they will achieve. And of course, our traditional institutions, you see, virtually all segments of the society has failed. Our traditional institutions who we believe and we know that are supposed to, be closer to these persons who can equally also speak with them, at the community level. But we used to live a communal life, those days where everybody that is senior to you in your environment is seen as your parents. But today, it does not. You try to talk to a child today, the child will insult you. And you try to report that child to the parents. Yes, the parents will support the child for insulting you and even tell you that, I know what I am using to take care of this, my child. I know what I am putting in. So don't come and destroy my child for me. Whereas, that child is supposed to be the child of everybody, at least that is senior to that child. We are supposed to give, corrective measures, to children like that. So basically, the entire system has failed us. One will not equally expect that government should be able, to engage the youth, to engage its citizens. Well, I want to thank God for what our governor is doing in the state, through do jobs, trying as much as
Creative
possible.
Hub also.
Yes, the Creative Hub is there, the production center is there, and the tech park is equally there.
Yes.
So a lot, and we are also hearing that the agricultural whatever is also coming up. So we want to thank God because a lot of persons are getting engaged, through this means. We will urge Nigerian government to ensure, to do something. To everybody, they have to put their foot on the ground, to ensure that, the youths are engaged. Even when these young persons, they try to get something, to do for themselves. They cannot get power, no light to power what they are doing. Imagine somebody who is trying to also get himself something, and a barber gets a clipper and something, no power. You can't get it. The person have to look for money to equally buy generator, and even if you have the generator to power it, to even get fuel, it's a problem. So it's a very serious problem, and Nigeria must wake up.
All right, talking about the faith system contributing to ritual killings in Nigeria, I want to ask you, Chairman, for instance, the power supply you just mentioned, it has been with us, it's not a new thing. And back then, you still see people going to acquire skis despite the epileptic power supply. But we find out these days that most young people, they don't want to work. For instance, you tell them there's a job of 30,000. They will ask, what can 30,000 do for me? And they love big cars. It's just like, so do you think that is a problem of the government or the family, or from even the youths that have big eyes, they crave for big things without working for it?
My dear sister, this whole thing started from somewhere.
Okay.
I must be very frank with you. If the system was working, ordinarily what to eat is not supposed to be your problem. Ordinarily, it's not supposed to be your problem. When the problem of hunger is solved, majority of the problems, is solved. But here it's a place, it's a country where somebody have to struggle to even get a meal to eat in a whole day. So this whole thing started, like something very small, and today it has become very big that it's now very difficult, to manage. Yes, before now, a lot of persons will, you see they advertise vacancies somewhere, over 5,000, maybe they want to employ only about 20, 30 persons, over 5,000 persons, we put in applications. Can we now say that those persons are not ready to work? They are ready to work. But in the event that, out of 5,000, you're only able to engage 30, leaving 4,900 and whatever, still in the street, another place, maybe you engage 5. So these persons must look for something to do. A lot of them have even taken into skills development, like I mentioned earlier. But a lot of these persons are still outside there. They are still in the street. And they know, those days when we were growing up, there are particular areas we used to hear that they do these money rituals. There's a particular name in the West. When they measure that name, all of us will be shivering. There are some other areas, in the East or so. When you hear people mention that name of those areas, you'll be shivering. But it is rather unfortunate that now it's even young persons, teenagers,
Teenagers.
they want to, get rich quick by all means, undermining, what the circumstance will be. I have equally said, this film industry, what they show on the TV, to our teenagers in the name of entertainment, it's also very, very alarming and disturbing. Knowing fully well that these persons that you are showing these films to now, they don't care on how the film is even going to end. What they believe in or what they care about is the particular area you have portrayed to them that, if I do this thing within a certain number of days or months, I will get rich. Whether the person is going to die mysteriously at the end, they are not even bothered. You hear someone, like I was going through my phone a few days ago, and somebody was trying to interview, I think it's one of his contemporaries, on the phone, and said, if you have opportunity to do money rituals, maybe with your mother, will you? They said, I will not think it twice. I won't think it twice. It's a straight thing. I go into it. Why will you do that? What about your father? That is the easiest. You can imagine a little child, talking. What about me, your close friend? My brother, I will just use you. And the only thing is that I will settle your family. Imagine somebody, and the Bible tells us that from the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. You understand? So it's obvious that, if that young person get the opportunity, of course he will go into it.
Before I come to elder wisdom, what is a 16-year-old boy, 15 years old boy looking for? They're still with the parents. If we say, okay, there's a faith system, there's no job, and they've graduated, what is that 15 or 16 years old looking for?
You see, the pastor here before now has equally explained certain things, to us at the beginning of this program. You see that young person that you are talking about, he's not actually doing that thing on his own volition. There is a power, that is pushing that child.
The occultic.
Yes, that is pushing that child, to do what the child is doing. If you also watch, a few weeks ago, we also saw on social media where about 3 teenagers were apprehended, and then they said they want to learn how to do Yahoo or something. And then when they asked them further questions, the smallest of them was trying to explain the difference between Yahoo and Yahoo Plus. So they understand all these things. That is not the Yahoo Plus I'm talking about. I'm talking about Yahoo, because his thinking is that it is the Yahoo Plus that is an offense. That is a criminal offense. The Yahoo is like a normal thing, that you can do, to make money, and then you will be fine. You understand? So the devil has eaten deep into the system, and this, like he said, the occultic world, has also penetrated so deep into the system. Except Nigeria as a country take a stand. The religious leaders, they have to take a stand. Our traditional leaders have to take a stand. All of us, our hands must be on deck to ensure that this scourge is dealt with and is brought to the barest minimum. Otherwise, within the next 3 years, we'll be in a very serious mess in this country.
All right, thank you, Chairman, for your thoughts this morning. Elder Wisdom, some weeks back, the House of Reps told the federal government to declare national emergency on ritual killings. Do you think that is right, or they are over exaggerating?
Okay, I think in another way, Nigeria, as we know ourselves, we are trying to introduce another dimension to it, which definitely is to show a form of concern nationally. Let it not look as if it's got to our hearing and we are not concerned about it. It is not any move to stop the act of ritual killing. Why I say that is because there are people who have escaped from the dens of some of these places, or some of these ritual killers. There are people who have escaped and have come to reveal what happened to them. There are people who have been kidnapped and they saw how human parts were being slaughtered, and they heard on phone how somebody on the other side, maybe one man, maybe they call them, sometimes it can be I don't know, nobody should hold me, but that's what I heard. One Alhaji will say, okay, where are they? Are they there? I hope they are ready. I hope it's fresh, and this and that. There are people who have testified to these things, but nothing have been done about it. The security agencies, they should be more informed than every other person. They should be more at alert than every other person. In fact, most countries, they create special security task force, special agents to handle such things. And these people will be fully trained on it. There are people who have come out, who have escaped, but these people are still there. Nobody has called them. People have said, oh, they caught me on one chance, and then this one chance buses, and every day the one chance buses or the one chance vehicles keeps running around the streets, keep running in the country, and then nothing is done. We still see our security agencies on the road taking money from people, and how will you know that anybody is carrying something? So I don't know where the call for national emergency, where it will yield any results in this regard, because like he said, the system has actually gotten so seriously bad. Now, over 10 years ago, I knew when I started seeing traces of Yahoo in secondary schools. It's been long. It didn't start now. It was not even 10 years ago. About 15, 16 or 17 years ago. That was when Yahoo started entering secondary schools. That's when secondary school people started doing Yahoo. So even at then, the university people, they have even started it, and then it was going into secondary school. Right now, the secondary school pupils are more into Yahoo than even the university. So we are talking of ASU strike. Which student is even interested whether they are going on strike or not? Who is interested? They are going there to get their paper, just to confirm they went to school. But for the system that they are going through right now is how to survive. And this survival strategy has become an issue because the government in power feels that Nigerians can survive any harsh condition. They don't know how Nigerians are surviving. I remember when Obasanjo was saying that if any Nigerian can afford a bottle of beer of 200 naira, why can't they afford a liter of petrol at least at above 100 naira and so on? So, but the problem is you don't know that these people are going to improvise to an extreme measure even to survive. You don't know. And then you don't even know how they are going to survive. But you'll be seeing the economy moving. People are, youths, they are not employed, but they are not on the street. People are not begging that much. The rate of poverty might be that high according to the index that the analysis. But as far as we know, we still have cars being imported into the country. We still have people building houses. We still have people living large. So everything is, but you don't know that these guys are improvising the extreme measure to survive because of the extreme economic factor that is affecting and ravaging the system. So if we don't consider that as a challenge, then how can we now declare a state of emergency? If we don't consider the state of survival in Nigeria as a challenge, if we don't consider the state of neglect to insecurity as a challenge, the way police handle or the military, they handle issues, if we don't consider that as a challenge, and we don't consider a lot of issues that have become so deplorable in the system, if we don't see these things as challenges, then how can your mere national emergency become? Because we are looking at it. Okay, now if you look at when the central bank placed a ban on cryptocurrency, crypto is a legitimate business. Forex trading is a legitimate business, but they place a ban because politically maybe they are interested in making money or from maybe the forex trading or any other thing, or they want to control a particular set of people. And that you don't know that you are putting extreme measure on some people who were discovering how to survive through those means. So you place a ban on crypto, you place a ban on so many things, and then you want to stifle the youth and then make sure that they are under your control. Yes. They are not making money because you discover that when they made money, they were able to fund a protest. And then because they funded the protest, so that was how they realized themselves. Now we have to control. So when you are making these measures, don't forget that these guys think faster than you. You don't think as fast as the youth. The youth are very radical. They are very proactive. And my God, the generation we are is a very dynamic generation. We can contact anybody from any part of the world, and we can even look for measures to get ourselves out of any challenge.
All right, wisdom, Heather. Those are your thoughts this morning. There are some of your personal thoughts you were sharing, and most of us are not part of the thoughts. Let's clear that. Because we are speaking to a lot of persons, and we should be careful on the way we talk on this program. We are looking at ritual killing in Nigeria. The chairman of National Youth Council of Nigeria is here. So you have this key acquisition center in the National Youth Council in Edo State. How often do youths come to acquire skills compared to what we have in those days?
Well, it has reduced. I must be very frank with you. It has reduced because before now, for a session of 6 months for catering, we used to have over 100, 100 students. But it has reduced, drastically. Now we look at between 30, 40, as the case may be, with 6 months, and then between the month of for the first half of the year, and then by the second half you equally have the second class, and then the fashion is equally there. We have a few persons. The different departments, it has reduced. I must be very, very frank with you, because a lot of these persons want to make quick money. They have discovered that there are areas, where you can make quick money. So they are ready to make quick money so that they can take care of their parents. Even the same parents they are killing now for money rituals.
Are you really sure it's about their parents, or they just want to please the other person, that we are the bigger boys in town? Because some of them, I look at it as selfish reasons for wanting to become rich suddenly. We have some fashion designers that are doing greatly in the state. We have some salonists that are doing greatly in the state. So sometimes when we point hands to government, we should point hands back to ourselves. We need to clear that most youths these days, do I really say, some of them are lazy, not all. Some are just lazy, they just need quick money. But let's look about society celebrating those that just arrived. There's this tradition when you see some bigger boy looking big with big cars, you see even the older person say, Domosa, in our own parlance, said, we will greet. Do you think that such kind of attitude we show to people that just arrived is healthy for the system?
Well, that is the problem we are facing. When I said the system has failed us, all this revolves around, the same thing that I have said, that the system has failed us. Even before we go into that, let us look at the one you mentioned earlier, talking about if I am sure it is their parents, that they really want to make money to take care of and all that. You see, when they see persons who have gone through what they are about to go into, taking care of their parents, those parents will live. Can't you see so and so person? Can't you see what the children are doing? Can't you see how they are? Look at the child just came the other day from Ghana and built a duplex for them. Mm-hmm. He bought a Lexus for them. What are you doing? You are just here eating our eba, eating our food. Where are you growing to? What are you doing here? So the child will even be pushed, to the street. The child must now think of what to do, to take care of his or her parents, as the case may be. Then, like you also said, there are some that want to show off. Because their friends are, making it, they are driving big cars, a lot of GLK on the street now, different types of Lexus, numberless, they don't even number them. They use them, you know, in the streets of Benin City without numbering them. And the security agencies are so happy, you know, when they see them, they just get tips from them and then they allow them go. So it's a very serious situation. And then society celebrating people who has made money, not even knowing the source of their wealth. They don't care to know how these persons, you know, make this money. It still boils down to the same class of persons that I mentioned earlier. Imagine somebody now who is able to make some money, goes into the church, the front seat is reserved, you know, for such person. The next day you hear that they want to make the person an elder or a deacon. This is a very young person
of a committee,
as the case may be.
Committee.
They want to make the person chairman of a launching, as the case may be. So it's a very terrible situation. Even to the traditional institutions, they will invite him and make him one chief of whatever. It's a terrible situation. If the society, if we know that the source of a particular person's wealth is not genuine, why do we have to worship that person? Why do we have to, you know, make the person feel so important? Is money everything? It is not. Those days we used to hear that good name is better than riches. Yeah. But today people prefer to have money. Forget about your good name. They go ask you who good name help. It's a terrible situation. That is why I said all hands must be on deck to ensure that this situation is salvaged. Otherwise, within now the next 3 years, we will be in a very serious mess.
Okay, before I come to Wisdom Elder, talking about the dwindling numbers of people going to acquire skills at the youth center, what do you think can be done to get this youth back? Because you said some years back, we have like 100 persons coming for sessions, and now we have like 30 right
40,
now.
Yes.
So what do you think can be done to get back this youth to acquire skills?
Well, like I have been trying to say, it still falls back to government. Government will have to make the society friendly. They have to create the enabling environment. You know, they have to, because yes, you may not be able to employ everybody, but when you create an enabling environment, you know, for people, you know, to do what they can do best, you know, to take care of themselves and even contribute to the society, a lot of persons, you know, will be ready, you know, to do business. Like I mentioned the issue of power earlier. That is a major problem. The issue of security is an issue. You know that very well. When, except for our own Edo State now, like I also said, in the area of engagement, what the governor is doing with this Edo Vigilante, the network. Okay. You know, they are doing well. In fact, the last youth season was the first in the last 20 years, you know, that the whole of Benin City was peaceful.
Calm, yeah. That's true.
Since the last 20 years. So you discover that, you know, the government has really done, you know, a lot on that. But they still need to create enabling environment for people, you know, to do what they can do to survive and even contribute to the society.
All right. I was about saying this creative hub, we have industrial park where we have constant electricity. Most of the youth are not still taking advantage of this. Despite, because if you talk, for instance, that epileptic power supply, there's a lot of frustration. The governor right now in Edo State is trying to put some things in order, trying to create an environment where there's constant supply of electricity for 24 hours. Yes. And you can just go there to acquire your skills. But most of these youth, the years of going to acquire these skills is like 20 years for them. They don't want it. So sometimes we don't blame we don't blame the government, chairman. Some of our youth, the youth need to just come back and think.
Well, I agree with you, you know, to a very large extent. But if you go to the production center we are talking about now, the place is filled up. Go to, you know, this, because the population is high. The population is high. The place is filled up. So enough, you know, they need to create enough enabling environment. Even though we have a lot of sensitization to do, because a lot of these persons has, you know, they have gone out of the system. We need to see how we'll be able to bring them back. There are a lot to be done. Like he mentioned earlier, that there are a lot of persons who have engaged themselves in these ritual killings and they are not comfortable with it. They are looking for, what do we do, to get out of it? Sensitization needs to be done. Right. We need to talk to our people. Although we are at our level at the National Youth Council, we are already talking with government to see how we can have a sensitization program, at the level of the 3 senatorial districts,
okay.
One here in Edo South, Edo Central, and Edo North. Let's see as many as youths we can gather, to talk to them, so that we'll bring in people to talk to these youth, the opportunities they can even have to make money for themselves. Genuinely, there should be persons that will speak to them, in that manner, so that they should not begin to think that it is only when they do ritual, when they kill to make money, that they can make money. There are very many other ways, through which they can make legitimate, money, and then they can live well, instead of going into something that after a few days or weeks, as the case may be, you are being haunted by security agencies, here and there. So this sensitization is very key. We are talking with government in that regard.
All right. I was just thinking, the owner of Facebook that we call Mentor now, we have a lot of billionaires, even Dangote. These people, they are not fun killing anybody. They just think, and their ideas
started small,
creating wealth for them.
Become very big.
I don't know where our youths are getting this idea of going to kill your girlfriend, your mother, to get money. All right.
Don't just say our youth.
Even
have you not seen a situation where parents, will collaborate with one of their child, the preferred one, to kill another child of theirs to make money?
It's a terrible situation.
It's a terrible situation.
All right, wisdom elder, what can we do? We have this problem already. What can the church, let's speak from the religious aspect, are they being taught that there is a danger in this way they are going into?
Yes, actually, ritual killing is just an aftermath of a negative influence. So spiritually, the source is a spiritual challenge, because we in Christianity, we understand that there are two influences and there are two worlds, the kingdom of darkness and the kingdom of light. And whether we like it or not, these two kingdoms influences the action that happens in the world. And then these kingdoms are far much powerful than the ordinary planetary systems. They are very powerful. The demonic kingdom can influence an entire community over a particular way of life that they cannot come out from for a very long time. So the kingdom of darkness is far much powerful. I will always give you an illustration. If you look at the Bible, David and Goliath. Goliath was very hefty and macho, trained physically. But David was a small kid, and David defeated him because David was coming from a superior spiritual level, higher than the spiritual level of Goliath. So spiritually, there are influences that takes charge of everything that is done. The ritual killing is just an aftermath. Now, the killings, the hate, the whatever we call them, these are aftermaths, offshoots of what actually any party must have been influenced by the spiritual world. So he has said a lot about the church. Now, let me bring it down. Now, a lot of our youths don't attend churches. I'm a pastor. I've been pastoring for years. I can tell you that the number of persons that went to church on Sunday in Benin City are far much less than the total population of Benin City. That is the truth. If you want, go around on a Sunday to do your statistics. All these churches you see all over the place, how many people are there? If we have 1 million people in Benin that are in churches, then we'll be talking about change or difference. But it's not like that. The case is not like that. Maybe we hear pastors preach and then we have people who attend church, and then we assume that everyone attends church. Ask our youths who have gone through university days and they have come out. How many of them went to churches? So many will go to church on the 31st night of December, and after that, maybe another time will be on Christmas Day, and so on. That's the end of it. So a lot of our youths do not, number one, attend churches. Number two, those that attend churches do not understand what is going on in the church as Christians. They don't understand, because there is a dimension of understanding of the Word of God that is not given to the people correctly. So a lot of people are going there religiously because they were introduced as Christians into churches. Some of them, their parents say, I hope you are going to church. So they just want to satisfy that consciousness that they were in church. Not really because there is a connection to the Spirit of Christ as Christians or the Spirit of God, which a lot of them are disconnected from. So you cannot say why Judas was in a part of the disciples of Jesus, and at the end of the day he betrayed Jesus, because he was disconnected. So there are people who can be in churches, but they are disconnected from whatever is happening. So that has to go down well with us. So way out, if in case you have been into rituals and then you are confused, because once you enter into it, you are going to keep killing in order to sustain it. Not only to our youths, I'm talking to both politicians, because those people who are giving states of emergency, a lot of them made their way through because of rituals. A lot of them are sustaining themselves today because of occultism. That's the truth. And then so many of them do not know that there is a better way out. There is way out. The kingdom of darkness is subservient, is lower than the kingdom of light. That's the truth. So if you want to come out, you must be consciously ready to identify with a higher power, which is the kingdom of light. I'm not saying this because I'm a Christian. I'm saying this because I understand the concept of the spiritual. I teach about it. I know the spiritual level. I don't do religion. I don't do religion. Or you see some things happening in churches, some teachings they have give in church. I don't actually identify with them. I believe that God is spirit and God controls every other force on earth. And Jesus came to identify us with the Spirit of God. Thank you
so much. You're like, your advice to youth, briefly.
Well, before I go on to advise the youth, those youths out there that my pastor says don't go to church, who is to evangelize them?
Okay.
The pastors. Even the ones in the church. Who is to teach them to understand the word? The pastors.
Okay.
So, youth, please stay out of trouble.
All right, thank you. That's our show this morning on Issues and Answers. We've been discussing ritual killing in Nigeria. And we have the chairman, National Youth Council of Nigeria, Edo State, Comrade Osahon Obasuyi. Once again, thank you for your thoughts.
Thank you so much.
And we have Pastor Wisdom Eda. Thank you, sir, for your thoughts.
Thank you.
That's our show this morning. Thank you for staying. I'm Josephine Eyimihe. Good morning.